Hello and welcome to the Captain's Table, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Berserker01, Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the AstroPub, your space bar at the end of Twitch. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We got a good one for you. Tree? The tree's moving. Okay, cool. I thought tree might be a frozen statue. I thought tree might be a tree for a moment. But yeah, welcome. This is the Captain's Table, where I bring people from all over the Star Citizen universe to talk about the game. I hadn't had anybody, and Execute popped on. My last stream was like, hey, come on and come to do an Inforunners channel. And I'm like, cool, Execute, you're going to come with me to do the Captain's Table. It's like, all right.
That's what we do, man.
So you'll see me later on the Inforunners later on this week as well. And but as a result, because Execute asked, and I was like, hey, cool, let's get Execute on, I figured we'd talk some ships, do some ship talking. Because we're all ship posters here in Star Citizen universe. But before we get to all that, let's start with Mr. Tree0311. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
Hey everyone, I'm Tree0311. You've probably seen my face before. I host a couple of Star Citizen podcasts over on Twitch, TV, whatever, at Tree03. Yeah, that one, Tree0311. Can't miss it. 0311. I do the Pathfinders podcast with Nazarus, where we do deep dives into the development of the game, as well as follow the roadmap roundups and the monthly reports. And then I also do generally once a month we do an episode for Armchair Admirals and Generals, where myself and several other members of the military, we look at various aspects of Star Citizen from a more military perspective, regardless of whether it's a combat-oriented thing or not, logistics, all that. And we recently expanded our cast, and so I'll be making an announcement on Twitter, but I brought in Sergeant Tickles, and oh gosh, what's his new name? Drinkers with Gaming Problems, or
Badgers.
Brought him in.
Badgers?
Yeah.
You bastard!
We're just borrowing.
To be fair, Execute was the one who's like, Execute was the one who's like, hey, get Badgers onto this podcast. He'd be perfect for this podcast. Yeah. You should go.
He came in and hung out on our last podcast, and we had a bunch of fun talking with him. I was like, dude, you want to come on? He's like, oh, hell yeah. So we're still figuring out our next episode and figuring out who's going to be available. And then if you've heard of the Beyond the Verse podcast, they just got started. His name's Solus. Brought him in. Kale Katarn, who's a member of the community. He hangs out.
I'll have to hook you up with the Inforunners military group then, because there's a shit ton of boys in there that all know that stuff. So I can think of it. Well, you want to get Essay on there as well? I can tell you that right now. So yeah, a whole bunch of people. The
big thing is being able to, hey, here's the topic. Who wants to talk about it? And that way, if it's something that a Tirakel or Nightcob are like, it's not really my bag. Somebody else can sign up, or if somebody's not available.
Paul, he's figured out our secret. Other people do the show for you. He must be destroyed.
We can't let him out of here. This is lost media.
Yeah, but I do everything for charity, so all of my monetization goes to stackup.org. I take no money from it, so all my subs, all the ad revenue, direct donations, we're nearing $1,000 for the year already. So that was the original goal, and we're going to smash it.
Nice.
And so pretty stoked.
We're looking to do some merch, and you know how we don't do giveaways and stuff, but we're looking into doing that. But the giveaways and stuff, a lot of it's going to be for charity and stuff. Not all of it, but a lot of it. So, because obviously you've got to have money to make the stuff. But yeah, so we're looking into similar things like that, because SA is really big into that too. So if you're into charity stuff, definitely recommend you reach out to SA at some point.
Oh hell yeah, I'd be all about it.
And it's Tree0311 everywhere, like Twitch, YouTube, all that kind of stuff.
And Twitter is Tree0311-SC. Amazingly, there's already one of me on Twitter, but
somehow
random. Yeah.
It's like he's a military guy and he likes acronyms. Yeah.
And my second short form video is in production right now. So yeah, I'll be recording audio tomorrow.
Short form.
The last one was only 16 minutes. This one will probably be like 14. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the podcasts are long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Then we've got the man, the myth, the legend.
Really?
Yeah, he's a legend. You're a legend. You're a legend in some ways you don't want to be a legend, but a legend is still a legend.
You guys are the first content creators that I started following in Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, I guess if you hang around long enough, people start listening to your bullshit. Yeah.
Mr. Execute, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
I'm one of the Inforunners with Paul, Argrid, Badges, Space Tomato, Loken. God, I know I'm missing a few people there, but yeah, there's a whole bunch of us. I guess I am the reluctant leader of this merry band, but yeah, we talk about a lot of ship stuff. Obviously, that's why I'm here today. We do a lot of deep dives, speculation, guides on how to get ships for cheaper, things like that. Anything I'm missing. Paul does marketing, so I just stand here awkwardly and
let me to do it.
Yeah, it's so much easier. Because I've learned, like, that's one of the things you learn in the Inforunners is just to rely on other people's strengths. You do your strength, and they will do their strength, and we all just carry each other. That's how it works. Like, Paul needs a host or a guest. I turn up. That's how it works. We all help each other out. That's so lighten the load. So yeah.
I will do the little bit of the pitch for Inforunners. I want to say pimp your ship, that it's not the right one. Fix my fleet. Fix my fleet.
Yep.
Is a big one to do. We talk about everything. We talk about mostly we focus on ships. We talked about probably one of our more famous videos that two of our most famous performance videos, one of which is no one knows us for anymore, even though it got huge in the community. One is Sell Your Fighters, about us talking about that. And the other one is Star Citizen's way bigger than you think. And if you watch those two videos, those are pretty good ones.
So I actually took AI and I did a topic for AI at the end of December last year with Badges and Space Tomato, and that's become one of our biggest videos too.
AI?
Yeah. I just took a title from one of the, like ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And it just took off. So yeah. You're looking for me and Badges have been doing that a lot, like going to the AI and asking it for suggestions and stuff. So Tree, if you want any,
there we go.
Go get some topics from the AI. Yeah.
Hey, that's what those things are great for. Those are great tools for those sorts of ways that you can get around some of the issues. So,
look, until it can tell me where my
machine spirit,
until it can tell me where my pants are, it doesn't count. So,
all right,
you're wearing pants.
Yeah, I can't find my pants. Where are they? Google them. Here are your pants.
And of course, you talked about the Thursday stream, right? Or Thursdays.
Yeah, so we do stream on YouTube and Twitch now every Thursday. I don't know what time that is for you guys, because for me it's 5:30 in the morning Friday. Yeah, joy. No, it's not joy. I think it works out to be about 4 p.m. your time, Paul, roughly. I'd have to backtrack the math. But and we do that for about 4 hours, and it's a really weird stream because you go onto Twitch and you're looking and he's playing the game, she's playing the game, he's playing the game. And then you've got these two talking heads that are me and Agrid just answering questions for 4 hours. It's really weird.
And it can be exhausting. You'd be surprised how answering questions for 4 hours can be exhausting.
I've got to sit under these lights too. So look, I've got these glasses now. Look, hang on, I'll put these on there. Super nerdy. But I found they actually work with the lights.
Is it blue light blockers? Yeah, they're great.
Angry PC Tech got me onto this pair, so yeah, they actually work really well.
I'm going to be getting, when I get my next prescription over the summer, I'm going to get a pair for work, a pair for home, and a blue light blockers for streaming and gaming.
Wait, you can get blue light blockers from the
prescriptions? Yeah,
you can get. I'm gonna have to get. I just got new glasses last week. I'm gonna have to go get more now.
Yeah,
that's how you know you're getting old, when you've got to get 2 sets of glasses, not one, 2.
Well, you
I my first glasses, so.
Yeah, okay. You see, I only have one pair of glasses. I've had these since I was in college, and I am 36. So I need to get new pairs of glasses. That's just, yeah.
Well, that's the Australian health system at work. I got these for free.
Yeah, so.
Every 5 years, you can get a pair for free.
Nice. But let's talk about the topic for today. We're going to go down chronologically, but because all these folks are here, we'll talk about the best the best poll, the reason why you click this video, because I know you click this video or you click this live stream because of the title, and it is because of ships. You all love ships. It's okay to admit your kink. We all have our own styles, but we're going to talk about all of the ships that are likely to come out this year. We're going to go in chronological order, and we're going to talk about some of the more controversial possibilities, and as well maybe some of the unannounced ships that are coming out. Starting with you, X, what are the ships that you think will be coming out in 319? And which of those ships do you think is going to be the best to pick up for 319?
You've just made this easy. They're all listed. They came out this morning. They're all
That's
there.
true.
Why do I have to? Mate, trying to make me look stupid, Paul. Now I have to read off some script.
It's a
as
test,
you know,
and he's a teacher.
Well, a lot of people don't know that the leaks happened recently because 319 just went into Evocati. So
yeah, but a lot of people besides you, Paul, know that my mum was also a teacher, so I know you're full of shit. Anyway, I don't know. Like, well, okay, we knew about the Fury, obviously. I think the interesting part there is the mirror reference. Do you think that's anything to the Ag was talking about the other day? There was it came up in the live stream. Someone talked about a Misc Fury or something like that. I can't remember the name. I'd have to go back and look at the exact name. But the fact that name Mir sounds very similar to it. I wonder if it's relatable. We also know got the cargo refactor. So yeah, the Fury is rumored to be a fighter though. So I would go down that line of thought. But what if it is how do I put this? What if it's a ship that has it could be the first, right? But what if it is a ship that has a combat or cargo variant?
Oh, so like a both.
And well, in the description, I remember the description because it was very visual. It says it was from a lore post. So Paul, you might know what this is. It was from 2012. It was one of the very first lore posts they ever posted. And this ship was called the Misc Fury or some shit. And it talks about how the person climbs into this rickety old ladder and he passes the external cargo hanging on the bottom and then climbs into the ship. So it makes it sound like a single-seater cargo ship.
I'd have to take a look at that old ones, but that could definitely happen. A Misc starter ship is well, we already have a Misc starter ship. It's called the Reliant, chat. But yeah, but that could be like a competitor to the. Well, they already make the whole series. So like
my thought. Well, that's what we went through. Well, it sounds like this is just a ship that was there from back in the day and that's been superseded because the whole series is a thing, as you said, the core's a thing. But back in 2012, none of those things were a thing.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if the Mir is maybe just a tip of the hat to the old name, possibly.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Tumbral Storm. Tree, what do you think that is? If you had to, I'm thinking some kind of EMP thing, Tree, unless you're thinking anything different.
Ooh, I didn't think about the EMP thing. That does kind of make sense with Storm.
Lightning.
I would and I was leaning just Storm as in it being
Storm
fast.
And
I'm of
we have a racing variant already, don't we, for the Cyclone?
Yeah,
I've really been hoping for more tracked vehicles. I enjoy driving the Nova. I think it's fun. I know it's not like the most realistic thing ever, but I find it satisfying. And so I've been hoping for a tracked infantry fighting vehicle type thing. Something with a size 3, main gun, and a coaxial gun, room for bigger than a Ursa, but tracked. And so I and obviously would be a lot faster than a Tumbral Nova, more maneuverable. And so that was my hope, is for something, along those lines, because the Ursa rover it's an exploration rover. And there's, I imagine the UE Marine variant is a military recon rover thing, but still not a frontline combatant. Mm-hmm. And so, but I think there's definitely something to be said about some sort of E-War or something like that, or an EMP type thing. I don't know. I hadn't thought about it that way, but the name does kind of lend to that.
I think it's more.
That kind of came out of the blue for me, though. That's for sure.
Yeah. It kind of, for me, it always seemed more. That seems a lot more more metaphorical, like storm, like storming the beaches, like going fast, but like a fast light combat vehicle. Whereas the Cyclone is literally a scout vehicle. This would be your IFV or your BMP, that kind of thing. That would be my thoughts on it too.
And
that.
Invictus launch week, it's definitely going to be something very combat related.
Yeah.
Hopefully they have good lore for it.
You keep making me think of a half track, the way you kind of described that a lot, and I'm like, like a good.
Oh, the good old M3, that's a classic.
That would be an interesting addition. I think a half track would be an interesting choice for CIG rather than a full tracked vehicle. Only because even though no one uses half tracks anymore, it would be a nice visually distinctive thing, especially since if it's considered an older Tumbral vehicle like the Nova is. So it'd be interesting.
That's a good question though. Is it a new thing or is it an old thing? Returneth. Yeah. Because I mean, that would if you went the half track route, that could be a way. Because that's the same sort of thing.
So do you guys think it'll be like? I'm just assuming because you've got the Tumbral Nova, the Tumbral Cyclone, which is a large and a small. Do we just make the potential assumption that this is a medium? So it's our first Ursa direct competitor size wise, at least. I guess the G12 is technically that too. Now I think about it. No, wait.
I would think it would have to be bigger than the Ursa if it was going to be
probably in the same size range though. It's going to be smaller than the Nova and that kind of
stuff. Not dwarf the Ursa, but be bigger than I think it might be a stretch to fit in a Connie.
So basically there's three sizes: small, medium, and large. At the moment we've only got the Atlas platform and the Nova that fall into the large. The Ursa I'd have to double check. The Ursa is the only medium as I'm aware, but I could be wrong on the
G12 kind of falls in the same. I think the same size.
I thought the G12 was the same size as the Cyclone, but I could be wrong. Either way,
it's bigger
the point
than
is
the Cyclone, but not by much. But it could be.
So I'm not quite sure on the metrics. I need to go check the vehicle metrics. But my point being is, if there is no medium from Nova, it's an obvious choice to make it a medium.
Or what if it's artillery? Storm? Rain?
Don't get my hopes up. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. I want artillery in this game.
Can you imagine how popular
to bring the rain?
Girl, you and me both.
I want to shout, "Shatter their skies!" as I'm firing my.
I do want to throw this out there though about the Fury. So Mir. They looked it up. The meaning
Japanese word.
Japanese, and it means to take care of, often medically.
Oh, it could be a medical version. Yeah.
Oh.
But a medical ship.
The size of a small fighter, we don't really have anything like that outside of the.
What if it's a single seat recovery vehicle? So it just recovers one person from a combat zone to take care of, as in,
So instead of a cargo bay, it has a medical bay you climb into.
Even if it's just got like a bomb bay, but the bomb bay is converted just to hold one of those, those drones.
Yeah.
So it just flies over the drone, goes down, picks it up.
The Shepherd.
Yeah. Something like that. So it's just quick and nasty, but it recovers you though. I don't know.
I mean, that sounds like what they were going to do with the Gladiator. The Gladiator was supposed to have.
With the SAR module.
With the SAR module and the firefighting module and all that sort of stuff. So.
All right. And the last one on the list is an Aegis something. But I think from process of elimination, as Paul and I have been here, and Trey, you're probably in the same ballpark now. I shouldn't rule you out. You've been here for quite a while now. Fury seems to be a fighter, so we can assume that's kind of there. Smaller. And then you got the vehicle. Yeah, so I'm thinking the Aegis one has to be a little bit bigger at least. So
a medium or a large at minimum. They usually don't do capital ships, but a medium or a large would make sense. Because I believe the Legionnaire, wasn't that released last Invictus?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a medium ship. That's a size, but the same size as a Freelancer. I mean, it's like taller.
That's correct.
It's at the extreme edge of extra small for the hangar metric.
So actually, it is. You are correct. It is actually the biggest now. It has now overtaken the Freelancer. It is the biggest small ship.
Yeah.
Or T2 or S2. as I like to say now, because I'm sick of the confusion of the pad size. So I've gone to the numbers that they use.
Yeah.
But yeah, S2. There's no question when you use the right terminology, and I'm just finding that's what they're using, so that's what I'm going to start using.
They could also double dip, because this could also be a Squadron 42 thing, and a lot of people have been asking for this, which is some sort of logistics vehicle for the ground vehicles, because they also have the whole like pulling stuff off of vehicles and like salvaging, like, replacing weapons. It could be a vehicle that's designed to be, refueler, like put weapons stuff on a weapons rack and drive it around. Just something like
maybe they're being asses and doing what they did with the mining vehicle, and it's just a smaller salvage vehicle.
Yeah, that could be it. It's the it's a small salvage vehicle.
I know if we don't let Paul talk about this, he won't. So Paul, tell us about the bear claw. Sorry, I'm stumbling in my speech. Sorry.
The
bear claw. Because could it be a heavy fighter? Could it be a heavy fighter?
It could be. It could be the what is it called? It's not the bear claw.
The bear cat.
The bear cat. Yeah,
bear cat?
It could be the bear
cat. My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Bear claws are delicious.
Yeah, it could be the bear cat. There's also another Aegis vehicle, which was the one that replaced that beat the Cutlass in the competition that the Cutlass was first introduced in. Let me look that up real quickly, and I'll tell you what it is. But that one I've always thought, like, hey, a Aegis version of the Cutlass would be fucking amazing. There we go. Let me pull up my.
Do you think there is another? I guess there is more room for a ship of that size, in that, because we've got that many in the constellation size, and generally you get more ships as you go down. So,
see if I can find.
There's definitely room then.
The lore for it. I'm not seeing any of. Why don't you? Oh, there we go. History of the. There we go. There we go.
So
okay.
Let me throw this to you, Paul. Then, if we know about the Cutlass, the Spirit, and the Freelancer, and what they bring, what would Aegis bring to the table in your like to a generalized ship in that arena?
Bombs away, baby.
Ooh, yeah, bombs.
And the thing that it lost to was the Aegis Wildcat, and the Wildcat. There was also the Bearcat, which is a vehicle that was designed to compete against the what was it? The Hawk, and it lost, but it was also supposed to have the same features as the Hawk. So either one of those would work. Something that's like a freelance or like a Cutlass, but made by Aegis, and then or something that is effectively a new bounty vehicle, because both of those are things that would fit in the needs. We only have 3 bounty ships, and we have bounty hunting coming up soon. So having an Aegis vehicle that does bounty, other than like a dedicated bounty hunter ship, it would be an interesting one. So I don't know.
Finding some other stuff here on the Misc Fury. It is a single 0G enter and exit animation, which kind of relatively confirms it's a single seater.
The Fury.
Yeah. There's also talk here of an alien ship called the Sulian. And when translated, the Raelian is carry without issue. The Sulian is fly without issue.
Yeah. The Celian, I think is what it's supposed to be. Sulian. Yeah.
I think I can't say that. That one. I think that probably accidentally ended up in that 319 build, but meant for Alien Week.
Yeah.
But if for me the fly without difficulty totally speaks to more VTOLs and being able to fly in atmosphere and gravity really well. And they're working on the tech with the Santokyai to allow for dynamic movement of the main thrusters, the big ones. And they're going to port that over from that Santokyai to things like the Legionnaire, the Valkyrie. But I could see them doing another ship. It's Gatak, not Apoa, right?
That's not the Santokyai. Yeah. And Gatak is not a combat vehicle. So.
Well, the thing is, they're suggesting it's the Gatak Sulian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if it's Gatak, it could be a cargo ship, but more raft that's meant to go VTOL down to the planet, and drop off cargo.
I could be completely wrong here, but when it says fly without issue, I thought of racing. That's where
too.
my brain
Oh,
went. Yeah.
ooh, that's a good one too. Yep.
But if it
That
was
makes
a
a lot of
racing, it would be
sense.
an AO ship. That would definitely be an AO.
Yeah.
Isn't a power combat and Gataka
Light
like
ships.
industry
All,
cargo?
they do combat, but it's all light ships from the Xi'an Empire made by AOPOA. So anything that's a light vehicle.
So what's Gatak specifically then?
Industry and like industry specifically. So cargo, mining, refining, all of that stuff would be Gatak, and they've had a lifetime contract on that. Like that cannot be taken away from them. So,
well, and with more work on the cargo refactor and more, vehicle tractor beams, it's like, ooh, I could totally see.
So I throw this back at you then, though. This is just like adding to the speculation pool. If we've already got the Raelian from them, is this a smaller or larger ship?
Obviously, a bigger ship.
It's got to be. You think so?
I think it. Well, the Raelian's pretty big, right? It's a large ship. It's like the size of like a whole sea or like a.
It's essentially a Connie type of thing.
Yeah. So I'd say more like a.
It has a big
ship.
footprint for the amount of cargo that it carries. If that one, I was thinking like something. If that's the large, I was thinking something more medium.
Yeah,
but
I could see it being a raft competitor for sure, because it's the one thing that the Xi'an actually do not excel at compared to humanity is making their ships aerodynamic, because they're so reliant on their anti-grav tech that they just let that happen. But as a result, human ships have an advantage in atmosphere, because if they get into an atmosphere, their ships are designed to coast and fly and not use as much fuel, so humans can literally outrun like out marathon a Xi'an fighter in those sorts of situations. So they have to use more power, which means they're more vulnerable, especially places that mess up their power systems and such. So the Xi'an building a ship that's designed specifically not to deal with atmosphere makes sense. So
with straight up Xi'an tractor beams, not Xi'an influence, straight up Xi'an ones.
Tractor beams.
Yeah.
I'm having a laugh here because Haters made the comment, the hardest of them all. And then he's gone, tutorial, your first steps. And then it says,
get out of bed. Exit bed. Yeah. I have to agree with most of Hater's kind of suppositions from what he's pulling out there. It seems about right. What's the last one there, X? Because there's one more that we haven't talked about that's coming out in 3.19.
No, that was all four.
The Lynx.
Tell me the one I've missed.
There's the Misc Reliant. Or not Reliant, the Misc Fury. What's the name of the potential variant? Did we talk about that?
Yeah, we did talk about that.
We talked about that.
Oh, did we?
I'm talking about the Lynx. The RSI Lynx.
Oh, the Lynx. Oh, no one gives a shit about that. comes free with every old man Hurston. Do you know how bad he was? So I'm going to give him shit because, like, I have to give him shit. That's my job. But basically, he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to buy 4 Lynxes. This is Algid, by the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's like, yeah, I'm going to buy 4 Lynxes. And I go, hang on a minute. They come with every Phoenix, don't they? And he goes, yeah, they do. And I go, how many Phoenixes do you have? He goes, 3. So he's going to buy 4 more and have 7. What the is wrong with him? What is he going to do with
He's
7
just Jay
Lynxes?
Leno, okay? He's just Jay Leno in Star Citizen. He just wants to buy 500 of everyone. By the way, that's going to get clipped. If you're watching this right now, Uri, I know you are. Clip that, all right? I need that as a short. I will use that as a short. What about the Lynx? Oh, no one gives about the Lynx. All right. Well, let's move on to. I'll talk about we'll ask you this question. Execute. Which one of those ships do you think is the best ship to come out for that in this run for 3.19? The thing that you'll see people using more or more fascinated by, based on
in the game right now. It's always combat, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to be honest. The one that interests me the most is the one that's the most mysterious, which is the God, I can't even say it now. Sulen. I think that is it because there's. But I think I kind of tend to agree with Tree here. Being attack, it does heavily lean towards cargo refactor. And I do get those raft vibes. It's like, oh, well, we made the raft, but we dropped the ball on a cargo refactor. So now we'll sell another one. Like, it feels a little bit like that. So I can see where Tree's coming from. But, yeah, I don't know. Alien just appeals to me. I don't know. There's a lot of people out there that likes the alien stuff, but I think the Storm's going to go. I think they're all going to go well. Let's be honest. They're combat ships like that. That's why Invictus goes so well, because it's all Pew, 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 pew.
All I'm going to say is if they actually make a self-propelled gun out of the Storm, I'm going to lose my shit. I will lose my shit if CIG put artillery in this game.
I want to, if it's artillery
under the radar.
If it's artillery and you can fire people, like you know the launcher for the caterpillar.
Yeah.
No, you put someone in and it launches them into the facility, like it's like a drop pod thing.
Yes, man cannon.
Surprise, motherfucker! Yeah.
All right, Tree. Based off of what we've talked about here, which of those are you most like interested in, or what do you think is the most will be the most interested in the release for 319?
If the Misc Fury is a straight to flyable combat ship, as part of Invictus launch week, based off of and I'm just going to say based off of the leaks, big quote unquote, and the potential size, I just with lots of small ships, I think if it has two variants, the variant probably will be what makes it interesting versus another combat ship. Okay, a combat ship, but then there's two of them and one has does something different than the other. I think the Aegis ship is probably going to be a bomber or something to do with bombs, because in the 319 leaks they did have mention of size 5 bombs. I know they haven't worked on them in a few months. That last sprint ended at the beginning of this year. But with the work on the Spirit, it's the A1, right? The A1 Spirit.
Yeah.
I think that with that and the work on bombs, I think we're due for another bomber.
It lines up with the the drop bay doors for bombs. That would line up with the theory of what I was saying about the medical thing. Like, so it does make a lot of sense what you're saying, to my head anyway. My head's weird. You don't want to be in there, but you get what I mean. I did find 2 more lines that you might find of interest here, though. Most likely the ship is a single-seater ship with no interior beyond the pilot's chair. The ship is similar to the Avenger and Mustang with a cockpit accessible entrance. So it shares similar animations to the Avenger and the Mustang. So that kind of literally tells you what you're looking for.
Are you talking about the Fury?
Yeah. So it's a similar size ship to a Mustang and Adventure. So it's quite small. Can I be honest? Where my brain's going, and you totally correct me if I'm wrong. Like, and I'm talking size wise here, but I'm thinking like an Arrow bomber is where my brain is going.
For the Fury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small, quick,
a dive bomber,
strike craft dive bomber. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
So it just
I hope either the Fury or the Aegis is a dive bomber or a light bomber. I mean, obviously, preferably the one that's straight to flyable, but we'll see what we get. But I'm going to hold out hope that the Storm is either more likely an infantry fighting vehicle, but which I would be all about.
That's great.
I love my type of thing.
Yeah.
But if not, please artillery, and they've just been doing that under the hood. Because artillery, it would be one of those things that they could stick under an unannounced, because it's never been announced. It's just been a thing. Oh, we'd like to have it in game.
Yeah.
And so they could totally, get the first version of artillery, out there in a very limited sense, and just, either way, I think it'll probably be fun, and as long as it's not a Cyclone clone, or Cyclone clone, then I'll be happy.
As long as it's not the Cyclone I win button where they just take something and just make a better Cyclone like they did with the TR.
Yeah, it's we know that the DS didn't go over well, so let's name it something different, but give it extra seats and 6 wheels.
The Cyclone party bus where it's just like seven people in the back.
Okay, here's what it is. It's a Cyclone, but it's got 6 wheels and it's got more seats in the back, and it's to couple with the technology so that you can shoot your weapon out the side, and it's purely for drive-bys. Everybody just leans out and it does that.
Yes.
The one thing I just want to say too with the Aegis one, that is also pretty mysterious too, because I've just realized besides the MER, there's nothing that's really military adjacent.
No.
So you know how you get like a military explorer with the Carrack. So I would almost speculate that is the adjacent one. But again, again, how is because the alien one is obviously an alien week, so it doesn't need to have the military adjacency. So I'm wondering if that's what it is. The Aegis one is military adjacent, which they've done before.
Quick clarifying question for you guys to make sure I'm reading the leaks right and I'm on the same page as you guys. The Fury and the Storm were both expecting to be straight to flyable, or was it just the Fury? Okay.
They're both,
and then an Aegis concept.
There's animations linked to those too, which tells that it's in building of some kind.
I've got something that I need to share with you two boys. Get excited, but I'm going to share it with you. There is a line that says, "Name bomb. Storm burst equals stern burst bomb." So it's got bombs on it. The Storm's got bombs on it.
Why would the Storm have bombs? It's not.
It's a cut. What if I think it might be but like think about it. What is a bomb? Artillery.
Yeah, okay, I guess they could be using a bomb code for
like a cluster,
because it would make the sense.
Yeah, like
makes sense.
Yeah, you launch it up and then it just falls down, because that's essentially what artillery is. But if you think about it, it's storm burst. So what if it flies over, detonates, and then it rains like it's like a cluster bomb,
like an actual cluster? That's kind of how actual artillery is supposed to work. It doesn't explode when it hits the ground. It explodes airbursts when it hits it's above it, sort of thing. So,
Robert Vose is saying in chat the Storm is listed as Hollow Viewer. There are so many leaks, I got confused really fast trying to keep up with it.
Okay. So we know for sure that the Fury's coming in, and the Storm's listed as a hollow viewer. What was the other one then? It was the alien ships. We may actually only have one straight to flyable for this one, which is
and I really think that the Gatak, whatever it is going to be, because June is Alien Week, right?
Yeah, it's first week of June.
Yeah, there was apparently 3 unannounced ships that were up for completion, so we could also have the Solian. But
there were 2 that were 100%.
Was it 2?
There were 2 of them that were in beyond their grain box level. They were in the lot. They just passed Lot 0 and we're going into final art around the same time as the SRV. That was last month. So
so many now I'm losing track.
That would make sense. It would be the Fury and the Xi'an ship. I'm gonna call it the Xi'an ship.
Sulian.
Sulian.
Yeah. Just remember rail.
You keep repeating it. I'm still gonna get it wrong.
Yeah.
Sulian. All right. So it's like my name. My name is Julian.
Yeah.
Sulian. Just put an S on it instead of a J, and you've got it. Sulian.
All right, so let's go on to the next part. We're going to go beyond. Yes, beyond 319 for the rest of the year. What are some of the ships you expect to see by the end of the year? I'll start with you on this one, Tree, and then I'll ask Execute.
Oh, for the rest of the year, I'm thumbing through the progress tracker. Obviously, the Crusader Spirit series.
Yeah.
Hopefully before IAE, we'll just have to keep track on the progress. I think it could be a 320 ship. I'm hoping that it's sooner rather than later, and that they release all 3 at the same time. Versus kind of how remember when they did the Herc and you got the C2 and the M2 first, and then like a quarter or 2 later we got the A2. I'm hoping that they don't have to stagger them out like that. The thing that's been interesting for me is that obviously the Misc Hull C is in production, and that's more of a larger cargo refactor, cargo missions when question than it is how long can we stretch out polishing the Hull C. But there's the vehicle teams are working on a lot of support tasks, so there isn't as much in the way of of known ship work going on, besides like the Santokyai, which will probably be, to me, I see the Santokyai with how complicated it is, would be an IAE thing. And then I know it's going to disappoint a lot of people, but the Origin X1 is going to be an IAE ship for sure.
Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Hey, no one cares.
I care. I care.
Move on.
All right.
Move on. Who cares?
I care.
He's pretending. He's just pretending. He's just pretending.
No. Let's rewind this, because this is something we're gonna have to do, because the X1 is my best in show candidate, not because I actually care, in the sense that I really, really want it, but because it's ridiculous that CIG could make, God damn it, execute. Because it's ridiculous that CIG could make the 400 series and the hover quad before they made the fucking X1. Right? The X1 has the 400 has a bespoke freaking X1 bay, and they didn't make the X1 with it, and they're still taking time to do it.
You know why? You know why? Because even CIG doesn't care, Paul.
That they shouldn't have taken money from it. That's the problem. They took the money.
So, Paul, this is one of those things where getting up more upset about it makes it worse, because Daddy CIG is going to watch, and then he's going to send an email to John Crew, and he's going to be like, hey, we need to push this out a little bit longer.
Delay it longer? Yeah.
Delay it longer.
Well, see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a campaign. So, because they always do like a candidacy every year for Best in Show. They usually do like, hey, give us your name, the ships you want. And then they take the highest voted ships, and they put those in the Best in Show. I want them to address the fact that the X1 is going to be put on that list of the best ships in game, even though it's not out yet, because it's not technically eligible, for them to go, yes, but it is going to be coming out later. So they can address that they are making it, and it is coming out, and address that it's been taking them like 49 weeks. It's taken the entirety of Star Citizen's development period, 12 years from them to make it.
Insert awkward silence here.
Yes.
They did what they did with the Connie. They've just had someone working on it when they give a shit, which is not very often.
Which is not very often, because they don't give a shit. But it's one of those things where, like, I can understand all of the list of the backlog of ships that are in concept that they haven't released yet, because they just haven't gotten ready for it yet. But the X1 is just a hover ship. It's just a hover bike. Just kick that shit out. Like, just pump it.
Paul, if you don't move on, I'm going to contact C-Daddy. I'm going to make a pin art of you as the lawman, and I'm going to get it, put it on the Redeemer nose, and sell it as a skin.
Go ahead, Tree. Sorry about that. I know you were go on my tangent about the X1.
Oh, no, I did it on purpose. That wasn't on. But yeah, we've got the whole sea to look forward to. We've got the Crusader Spirit series, which was, at least from my, from what I saw, everybody was wildly popular, and for good reason. I think that the Sulian is going to be a straight to flyable. I think there's an unannounced that's several months long that's pretty well into production. I think it'd probably be a straight to flyable, or a nearly so. And then, obviously the X1 is going to be very popular. We're going to have a few more unannounced, but really the biggest deal for me is the Polaris being in production, and it's not going to be out this year. If they get it out by Invictus launch week next year, I'll be pleasantly surprised, because the whole John Crew, a year to 18 months in production, it'll be right in between that at Invictus launch week next year.
It's scheduled to wrap up completion in September. That's what surprised me. It's sooner than I thought it was going to be.
The Polaris?
Oh, well,
the Polaris is on the roadmap to end in September. I was like, what?
That's
that early?
This is important
to just because that's how far out it goes.
Yeah, that's how far out it goes right now. Yeah. And also, so when you're looking at the progress tracker, and I'll let Tree kind of, because he does this better than I do, but I'll just say, it's not the end. When you see it end, it's not actually the end. Go ahead, Tree. I know you
they need a little marker there then to say, this is not complete.
They do. At the very beginning of every roadmap roundup. They have an entire thing to read. You can read at it. Sorry, go ahead.
Summon the Jake. But yeah,
gamers don't read, Paul.
I know.
What the fuck's wrong with you?
That's
why you listen to us. But I'm last year they did the was it an ISC where they showed off the work on the BMM, RIP. I think we're going to get another one of those as part of like Invictus launch week or shortly thereafter for the Polaris. to show us, how that work is coming along, and that's what I'm really excited to see. Because when they showed us it was the interior rework that we got to see back in IAE time, and so now at this point in time, they are, just like with everything else, they're starting basically from the outside, getting the exterior gray box in, and then they'll fill in, from the inside, and so we got the exterior described to us, but and how it hasn't changed. But when they start going into production is when hopefully we could finally get some actual official metric changes, see how things really line up as far as visibility. But it's just I'm really looking forward to seeing it go into production. The other thing that's I'm excited about it, but it's also, I don't think anyone is saying this, the Polaris is going to be probably going to be the first large capital ship that will come in, that from start to finish of production will be the first one with resource management in mind.
Yeah.
Not going back and having to have a rework or a refactor or anything. The resource management well underway while it was already well underway before it was even in production. And so they're building it that way in mind. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see how that goes together, as far as this is another opportunity for CIG to refine their process going forward with all the other big ships that need to come after. So that's why I'm excited for just to watch that.
Anything else you'd want to add to that, or do you think that's just in general what we have for this?
Other than unannounced, is just the unannounced is so much speculation really, but I think that I think you and both Execute said it, something Bounty Hunter related. Because I think Bounty Hunter V2 is going to be a 320 feature. Yeah. And so if we don't get another actual dedicated Bounty Hunter ship, transporting the bounties and stuff, then I think that's a big missed opportunity.
I
always look at the... he's pretty much stolen all the highlights. But you...
Yoink.
You look at the roadmap and you kind of see what's coming up. The other thing that was interesting when we were looking at the leak stuff there before is it also mentioned data heist missions as well. So I wonder if we've potentially got another data runner in there. I'm just floating that. I'm not saying that's what it is, but just you obviously got the cargo refactor that Tree mentioned earlier. Bounty hunting is another one. We don't really have a bigger... What's our biggest bounty hunting ship? Technically,
the blue.
Reclaimer Blue. Well, there is a module. Well, it's not confirmed, but there is a module, a bounty hunting module for the Reclaimer. So I just float that one as well.
For the Reclaimer? Or you mean the Redeemer?
Redeemer, your favorite ship. Sorry, I always forget your favorite.
I was gonna say, about that ship. I mean, I'm down with a bounty hunter module for the Reclaimer. That would be hilarious, and I'd love that. Like you roll up in a salvage ship, and it's just like I'm going to capture you and salvage your ship as for double profits.
Farewell, my friends. I have been chosen. I go on to a better place. Claw.
The claw.
The variant. It's the claw. Reclaimer claw. Actually, I'm gonna rename my Reclaimer that now.
The claw.
But yeah, so it's for me, it's always looking what's coming down the pipe and trying to associate stuff to it. We've just had Salvage come in. I would be really surprised if we don't see another Salvage ship real soon, especially now we're getting the last mining ship, kind of coming down the pipe. So I'm curious to see what manufacturer they chuck that in. Like, is it? There's a few there, Misc, Argo, with the industry and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those. It seems a little bit highbrow for Misc, though. Let's be honest, where Misc is a bit more high tech and Salvage seems to be a bit more low tech. So I kind of lean more towards Argo out of those two. You could also have a Consolidated Outland as well, but Consolidated Outland is, as me and Argo always say, is because they're like Elon Musk. They're hitting, the jack of all trades manufacturer. They hit every single thing that they can. Where everyone else seems to be a little bit more direct. They're everywhere. It's there's nothing really groundbreaking that besides the stuff that's coming. And by the way, they've been talking about this stuff since like October last year. We really haven't heard anything fresh because I think server meshing is still that big thing. Like Tree said with the Polaris, like I don't expect that Polaris to be in until the server meshing is in. The other interesting one I want to float, though, is much like the Idris missions that we have at the moment where we destroy Idrises, in the cinematic for the Antares, there was a fully complete well, at least it looks fully complete, Kraken.
Mhm.
I want to float that idea. Do you reckon that we might see a shell, just a shell, not the whole thing, a shell of a Kraken for Idris-like missions in Pyro when Pyro drops as well? So, yeah.
That's like
I'm
a year
surprised they
away.
haven't done that already yet.
Yeah, I would.
I mean, because if they
go ahead.
Well, if they can do with the Idris game right now, where, well, that's the only thing, because they did make the interiors, they did make it so it'll blow up. I don't know how much extra work that would be, but it'd be really cool if they could do that in the short term for missions in Pyro. I think it's a really good idea. Yeah, more variety. Yeah,
and you could literally have you know how Xenothreat is pushing into Stanton. You have Crusader Security or Microtech or whoever it is pushing into there as counterattacks. I'd love to see that kind of cross-system pollination things where they're going at each other.
As Xenothreat, but reversed. Like Uno reverse card for Xenothreat. Yeah.
But I do agree with some of the stuff Tree was saying, like the Spirit's on the roadmap to finish in June. So I think that could be, as you said, 320 or CitizenCon or AI at the latest. Santokyai, as I said, was September. Now you've told me September's the end of the roadmap. Well, then it looks like it could be going further than that. But that said, the last 3 sneaks besides this week's, so the last month before this very one, were 3 sneak peeks for the Santokyai. So that thing's,
it's in gray box
textures and stuff on. Yeah, no, but it was colored. It was colored.
Yeah, well, gray box. Gray box is it's basic colors and stuff like that. So, but it's definitely in a middle of the gray box phase rather than the end of the gray box. But gray box is only a couple of steps away from final art, and it's April right now. So I don't know if I could they may be waiting for it to be an IAE release rather than anything else, but I can't imagine it being dragged on beyond that. I don't think it's coming out for an Alien Week though. I think there's a couple people. I heard Space Tomato said he thinks it's coming out Alien Week. I'm like, no, there's no way that's coming out.
I think the biggest challenge for it is the new thruster tech, and the vehicle tech team getting that working. I'm looking forward to seeing it fly just because I think that's going to look really cool. I won't be able to fly it for crap, but I think it'll look cool, and especially with people learning how to fly it and getting skilled at it. I think that's going to make for some really good content to watch people put it through its paces.
I'm seeing what
both Carlos chat.
Carlos just talked a big thing about because there was a convention in Germany today, so.
The something 42, or I forgot what they call it.
The Con 42 DE. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just setting up ship posts for later.
All right. So we've kind of gone over this. We're kind of reaching to the end of this discussion part. I think we've kind of gone over most of the ships and kind of where they are. I'm going to ask a couple of rapid fire questions, which is kind of some short questions about ships and their kind of how they're going to function over the next couple of rest of this year. I'm going to start with you, Execute, on this one. Do you believe we will see multi-crew gaming, like the actual modular, or not modular, what is it called? The resource system in-game before the end of this year?
It's a tough one. Tier 0, yeah, I'll give you that. It's a complicated system that goes across every single ship in the game. That's why they're doing test beds, and we've seen that with other things before, where they start small and scale up. What was it? The Hull A and the Hammerhead with the 2 test beds. Obviously, they need the bigger stuff working, but they also want to try it out for single seater. There's the way that kind of works is 2 very different mechanics, because you've got one that's going from station to station, one where you're kind of essentially stationary. So they are kind of slightly different systems. I would expect to see it in the Hull A and the Hammerhead by the end of the year, but I don't think you're going to have every ship in the game done. No way. That's a huge ass job. And in fact, I'd almost look at it like the way they've done planetary tech. I think they'll refine it on those 2 ships until it is near perfection before rolling it onto others. Tree, what do you think on that one?
I think you're definitely right as far as the everything they do these days. They're a lot better about managing their time and not getting too far into the weeds without proving something out first. And I think you're definitely right that we will see, because the other thing is they are building that. It's not just for the PU. It is in Squadron 42, so it is going to see some testing. I wonder, like the Gladius got its components. The Saber got its components.
I think so. It was on there.
And there's a few others. The Retaliator rework that still hasn't made it to the PU got its components. And so I think that they are also testing that as part of Squadron. And so I think the initial release will probably have both the Hammerhead and the Hull A, as well as a handful of Squadron ships that they're implementing it on. Because the Squadron fleet that we interact with is really not that big. But I think you're definitely right. If we're going to call that a tier 0, I think that tier 0 implementation before the end of the year is definitely something we could probably see. 320, it's a coin toss. If it's a 320 before the Great Drought to 4.0, I would love it to be in 320. I just don't know if that's something. If we're calling 320 a Q3 early Q4 patch, the September October timeframe, I think they could probably get it done for that limited release. I'm going to be very optimistic and say I hope that I think that they can do it. I think it's one of those things that they want to get in if we're going to be in a long window between 320 and 4.0 like we had with 318. Yeah.
Okay, I'll start with you. This one, Tree. The next one. The big talk that a lot of people ask about ships is ship damage. The procedural damage system is something that PvP pilots have been asking for generations at this point, it feels like, because it specifically talks about things like armor, and everyone will say it all the time. Armor is going to change this game. Do not focus on everything because armor is so important. And armor is connected to that procedural damage, which is, of course, connected to the resource system. Do you think we will see any even kind of tier 0 versions of that damage system in place with in Star Citizen this year?
You're talking like the physicalized damage, where the soft body deformation, things looking the way they should, but also being able to mitigate damage. I think that's something that's going to have to come after the resource management system.
Okay.
Just because I think that it's probably the same people working on it, but I think that them working on the resource system for the PU is post them working on the resource system for Squadron 42. So once the people are done with the resource system for the Squadron 42 ships, they'll get to work on that physicalized damage portion for those same Squadron 42 ships in order to get them ready for beta, and pushing them out the door. Yeah, that would be my thought. They've been working on the physics aspect of that off and on for so long, but haven't shown us anything in forever. So we really don't even know what that's going to look like. But the major blocker for that was PES, and PES has been in the main dev branch, since last year, and so there's not any reason, if they're waiting on PES to get certain parts of it done, that's out of the way now. It's more just a matter of manpower, and I think the resource management took the priority, but I think that's probably the next step in that sequence of events. So I would expect that to start hearing about that towards the end of this year and going into next year, but not in game.
Okay. Execute your thoughts.
So I'm going to kind of come at this slightly differently. Rather than the damage, I think the combat stuff is coming first. And the reason for that is in June, the different ammo types are hitting. We actually did an episode on this, and it was a huge can of worms that opened between me and Badgers just last weekend. We actually thought it was going to be a really small subject, and 28 minutes in, we had only got past the first ammo type. SA was on that episode as well. But I think it's going to change the game more than almost anything this year. Just reading through the different ammo types and the way they... Well, if you kind of look right now, if you look at just lasers, we've kind of essentially got attritions, distortions, and just normal lasers that do damage in the way they do damage. They're basically refactoring distortion to work in a different way. They call it distortion damage propagation. And that essentially will can damage, like where it hits, it kind of can do damage through to components and stuff like that on the other side of where it hits. You've essentially got plasma, which is almost like acidic clouds that you can, if you're sitting in them, they will do damage to you. You've got flak that's coming, so if you if you shoot near a small ship, it'll do incremental, rather than the bullet going completely past, it'll detonate to do damage to the thing that it's next to, which is going to just drastically change the game, because so it's not you're going to hit far more frequently. You've got disarray that essentially is like bullets that can pass through shields and they pulse, so they're like mini EMPs, which is just mad to me, because you instantly bypass a shield and you can put an EMP right on a ship. That just blows my mind. And then we started going into things like, what if you can code this ammo? So, and this was all of them. And then what if you get cross pollinations of ammo? So what if you got flak plasma? What if you got
produce like as a production thing? Because they have talked about crafting. Are you talking about like the idea of crafting?
Well, we were talking about types, but then we started bringing in manufacturers. So this manufacturer decided to make plasma flak. What if you can take the disarray ammo, and I said it's got pulses. What if it's got obviously got a battery in the shell or something like that, right? What if you can make it so it does a couple of really big pulses, but like the battery goes flat really quick? What if you have a really small charge, but it lasts for like a whole minute? So you could literally choose and program what you do with that shell. So you can go, right, well, I just want to hit him and take everything out. I don't give a shit. Or I'm a really good shot and I know exactly where I got to hit him, so I'll make it so it's really small and lasts a really long time. So you can really stuff with the enemy how you want to stuff with them. So it was just really interesting to me.
So you think you think we're going to see damage types, like different like ammo and damage types added in before we get the armor and that other sort of aspects, those more procedural aspects?
There's nothing about armor on the roadmap, but Tree, you correct me if I'm wrong. It ends in June, yeah. Those ammo types, yeah. They're due for wrapping up in June.
I'd have to go back and look at them because they were scheduled in advance, and I don't know if they're still there or not.
Sorry, someone in chat lied to me. They said that you're the roadmap guru. I was lied to, right? So, yeah,
There's too many deliverables to keep track of.
But
just search for weapons, and it comes up under EU feature team. But
yeah. Ammo, no weapon.
There are 5 types, and they're all very, very interesting. And I even think for gameplay reasons. Oh, so the last one that I didn't mention is incendiary, right? Yeah. And to me, I think incendiary is factored at armor, because they don't want you to just be able to have because the first thing the military guy said, why isn't there armor penetration rounds? And I said, well, I think for gameplay reasons, we know they go through the shields. They don't want to go straight through armor, because then you can hit the ship. Why would you take anything else if you can just go straight through the shield, straight through the armor, and do the damage, right? So
it makes sense.
What they've done is made.
It would make sense that if the armor penetration rounds bounce off of shields, but they go through armor, so you'd need to have a separate.
Plasma, incendiary, flak, and disarray.
Yeah. So and then the damage propagation is the other one on there. It's called distortion damage propagation. You'll find it. It's on the same area. But basically with the incendiary, it goes in and they do damage over time. So to me, like, that's to kill armor. It lands in the armor and just chip damage on the armor until it falls off. And I think that's another thing. I think armor is going to fall off. Much so, like, you can send an Ares in Inferno. It shoots all, because they literally said, you go read the wording. It's very carefully worded. It says an Aurora cannot damage capital armor. It doesn't say an Aurora can't damage a capital ship. It says it can't damage capital armor. So you blow off the armor with a ship like an Inferno, then you can have your whole of Test Squadron come in and finish off the Idris. So
that's interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I was just gonna make a joke about how CIG is filled with a bunch of fire starters, so that incendiary is also so they can show off that cool fire propagation tech, so they can shoot inside a ship and start a fire, and then suck all the oxygen out. So it's instead of it's like a spite round almost. It's like, I'm not gonna beat you, but I can shoot this thing into your unshielded ship and maybe start a fire that'll destroy all of your life support. So you're gonna die eventually, anyways.
So let me open the first can of worms for you, Paul. It's ammo types. It's not just ships. So in incendiary rounds, it says there's a chance that they'll catch fire. So you can actually get incendiary rounds in normal guns and shoot other players. Oh, shit, I'm on fire.
Walking around on fire. Why do you think they're working on the the fire extinguisher gameplay. It's part of the gameplay designed. So
and we were like, we were talking about plasma in atmosphere and out of atmosphere. So if you get shot with plasma in space, it'll be like a cloud. If you get shot in atmosphere, it'll probably land like a pool or a puddle on the ground that you stand in and take damage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
So very, very interesting how we started, it was just a can of worms, as I said. Every time we started, someone else would think of something else, and then it just populated all 5 types, and it just became very complicated very quickly. And I'm like, I tried to narrow it to make the episode very narrow, and I thought, oh yeah, this will be 15, 20 minutes. You know where I'm going here.
Yes.
An hour and a half later, we're like, oh shit, I did not think this through.
Yeah. All right, so let's wrap this up because we're kind of going to slide over time. The last thing I want to talk to you about is capital ships.
Oh boy.
I'll start with you on this, Tree. Do we think we will see any capital ships this year?
Yeah, he told you earlier it's the Polaris.
Do you think we'll see that in 2023?
Not in 2023. Nope. Not even a concept.
Not even a concept. Execute. Do you think we're going to see any capital ships this year?
I have for a long time thought they've held off on at least the construction of bigger ships because they knew that they were going to bring in more ship teams. And when they did bring in the more ship teams, like we've talked about it before with you as well, like doing 5 big ships at the same time as an example, so you can cross-pollinate production. It just speeds up the production quite drastically. We know they're essentially doubling or tripling the ship teams. So that thing at the end of last year where people saying, 35 years to make all the big ships, that instantly makes that 10 years minus all the other stuff. It takes it way down to a couple of years at most.
Montreal just opened a new ship team. So there's a new ship team in Montreal. So we know that we've known that they, I don't think they've fully announced it, but like the dude who's the head of it talked about how he's going to Montreal to start a ship team on Twitter. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We know that's
possible. It was the Argo guy, wasn't he? It was
the
Argo guy. Yeah. But the other thing is, what if they just turn Montreal, and I'm not saying this is what they're doing, right? This is just, again, wild speculation. What if they turn Montreal into the big ship manufacturing people? That's all they do is big ships.
They're already
so they specialize in churning them out,
They're already the tools and the planet people. So having the team, that team just do all the big ships would also make sense as well. Just to say, hey, we don't have anyone to do the banner merchantman here. You
just made them sound like the wildest hippies ever. They're the tools and the planet people.
Yes.
That's awesome.
they're Texas rednecks or Texas hippies. They got themselves their chainsaw, their 30-06, and they tell you get off their property and not cut down them trees because them trees are people too.
Naz and I did a big podcast segment about the whole ship pipeline thing and how the table, the back of the table napkin math was just absolutely ridiculous when that came out. People taking one statement wildly out of context and not applying how development works at all. There's just so many factors of that are just absolutely silly, and anyone who believes that is
they're after clicks, man. They're after clicks. There are some people in our community that have just learned negativity gets clicks, and that's what they do. They feed on, and yet I think it's great. Maybe before release they get lots of clicks, but I think after release when they drop stuff like that, I think a lot of people are just going to kind of, I don't know. As I get older, you go into YouTube as an example, and you look at the titles and just count of the 24 images that roughly come up on your screen, and count how many try to make you pissed off. It's quite high every time you look at it. They are trying to make you angry, so you to get an emotional response out of you.
I've done it too. I'm not above it. I'm gonna do it. I'll do it if it works, especially if I think it's a controversial topic.
And if I say anything about Agrid leaving the show, people lose their mind. It's crazy. And the other one that works, Paul, that you and I always joke about are the arrows and circles.
People love, they love to click the arrows and circles. I think it's because it usually stands out, so people like to click it. In fact, I'll put some on this thumbnail for when it goes live. When we're talking about ships, so and if you got just to this point at the end of it, let me know.
A big circle around Tree and say, "Who is this? Oh my god!"
Well, no, I'm gonna take a ship. I'm gonna take an image with a ship in the background that's kind of blurry, and put a circle around.
Yeah, do that. That works really well. Yeah. What ship is this? I did that once. I took a concept art piece that someone did from Reddit, and I just said, "What is this ship?" That was the title.
Yeah.
Heaps of people clicked on the video just to find out what it was. And then like in live chat, they're like, so what's the ship? Oh, it's just one I took, like, and then just debated and then just leave.
Well, I mean, the point is that like we did talk about a bunch of ships that are thing. I've talked about the other thing I'll say, and of course, if you want to talk about more of this, watch this later.
Yes.
Come back and watch this the VOD, because if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, when it comes out in its own little standalone segment, I'll have that VOD up, which will be above Execute's head right there. You can click that and you can watch the whole thing, including the Q&A, which is much longer because YouTube doesn't like it when I post 2 videos at the same time. So I have to just post the discussion section and leave the Q&A later. So if you like that, go check that out. But for instance, I think we're going to see more racers. I think bounty hunting and racing ships are definitely going to be stuff we're going to see. There's been a lot of not so subtle hints that the RSI is going to have its own racer at some point. Unfortunately, in lore, it's called the Nova, and that tracks with CIG's bad naming schemes. Like, how many Novas are there going to be in game? How many things named Nova? So
they're going to make a medical ship, and it's going to be the Holy Nova. And,
yeah.
Hey, we should start a rumor about the Lynx Hurston, or the old man variant of the Lynx.
Of the Lynx?
Just so many people.
Hurston
Just start it, and I just want to start it like as a secret, and then it goes full circle and comes back to Algorithm. Oh, have you heard they're making an old man Hurston variant of the Lynx? And then we're like,
Does it have like a fold out step so it's easier to get onto?
Yes.
And
it's got Hurston gold.
It's just got cat skin everywhere. It's all leopard skin, just everywhere.
All right, so chat. I want to wrap this up before we move into the question and answer session. But if you're watching this after the fact, go spread that language. Go spread it. Go spread the rumor of the Hurston grade, the old man Hurston grade Lynx.
The old man Lynx. It's got the Lynx. The old man Lynx. I think that would probably be where I'd go. Yeah.
It's got
spread
training
it in Reddit,
wheels, but they're little anti-grav things on the side to stabilize it.
Yes. Reddit, and Twitter, and Facebook. I want to see this rumor going everywhere. Yeah. And
it's like a Harley trike.
Yes.
Keep saying things that are added to it. Like I'll go, it comes with a gold-plated walking frame.
Yes.
So keep add the little things. Just see how ridiculous you can make it.
Storage for the walker in the back.
But thank you to Execute and Tree for coming on and talking ships. We're going to be moving on to the question and answer session as always. And as I said, if you watch this afterwards, that'll be that link right up there. Click that. But you could join us live at twitch.tv/TheAstroPub or youtube.com/TheAstroPubLive. And on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. Come join us, talk for our talks. And yeah, like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black. Hold on. Now I'm going to do that because my Stream Deck messed up. Hope to see you someday in the black.